Greetings. Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Cija Ebeling with another live Sunday session, just past life chat and just discussing and answering any questions that you may have. I'm going to give you a few moments for other people to join in. And in the meantime, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in to the chat so I can certainly answer them for you. Hello, Mariah. Thanks for joining again. I missed you. Thanks for coming back again this Sunday. I'm back from Sedona and trying to find my light here so I can turn it up a little bit. Okay. Whoa, that's more than I can handle. My trip to Sedona was wonderful. Thanks, I've missed you. Yeah, I got back last Sunday, but it was late at night, so I wasn't able to do a live session, but I was a past life regression practitioner there at the retreat, and while I was there, I did a group hypnotic journey into past lives, and then I also did one-on-one sessions with several different guests. It was a little difficult, though, in that type of setting because they had a live band. Hello. They had a live band at the retreat, and it kind of conflicted and created some distraction for those there that were trying to have a session with me. So we've arranged another time to do it through Zoom, and that's where we're going to be catching up this coming week for those that weren't able to do past life regression with me at the retreat. So it was wonderful being back to Sedona because that is where I earned my Ph.D. was from the University of Sedona. And although I went to the school to talk to the staff, nobody was there that day because they're in transition and moving to a new location. And so, yeah, I didn't get to see any of my staff, but I still got to walk on the grounds of where the new location of the University of Sedona is. I'm not a past life reader. I am a past life regressionist. And the difference between a reader and a regressionist is the reader will tap into your Akashic records to pull out those past life memories. I prefer the journey. I love taking people on the past life journey of discovery because when you get to do that, we get to look at patterns that you've lived, and we get to call forward wisdom that we have lived before and bring it forward to be able to use it in this lifetime. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments here. Yeah, I'm not doing past life readings, but I do past life regression. And occasionally I'll do them on a live. If you have missed them, they're on my YouTube channel. So if you go into my link tree in my bio, you can watch those. And there's actually one that you can follow along with on your own time as often as you want to. But I recommend reading the comments first because you'll skip over a really loud part with the singing bowls in that particular session. I don't want to throw you out of your skin, but start it after. There's a specific time set in the comments, so click on that and it'll take you right to where you need to be. So let's see more. Do I do pregnancy readings? I'm a past life regressionist, so no, I don't do pregnancy readings, unfortunately. I am an intuitive, but I choose only to use it for my benefit. I don't read others. Can I? I can tell a lot about you, definitely, when I meet you and feel your energy, but most of us are intuitive by birth. It's just a learned and a practiced ability that everybody has. And honestly, when you come in to do past life regression with me, this is actually how we learn to tap into past lives, is to tap into your spiritual abilities by tapping into memories and trusting the information that comes forward. Sometimes my clients have difficulty believing the information coming forward because it feels like a fake story. Well, it feels that way is because it's being dropped into your awareness to access. And so when people are finished with their session, they're surprised at how easily it flowed after they decided to start believing the information coming into them. It just opens up for them, and is a magical experience. Have I ever had difficulty regressing anyone? Only the people that ask me that question. Ironically, it's because people get in their own way. And when they think, oh my gosh, I'm going to be that one person that has a difficult time tapping into past lives. So the way I get around that is to say, you know what, let's not look at it as a hypnosis. Let's do a guided meditation. And once we're able to do it that way, everything just seems to just flow after that, when they start trusting just the relaxation, because my job as the regressionist is to help you induce relaxation, and that's through an induction. And I do a body scan. We go through the whole body, relaxing every body part and releasing any attachment that's connected to any of the body parts. That way you're not carrying any tense situations that you might be unaware of, and you can just release all that. I just feel like, so you want to schedule a session, but you feel like you'll struggle with that. When you add feeling or emotions to that comment, you're absolutely right. But if you've probably done my, you were there when we did just the regular YouTube, or it was a live session where I took everybody through the past life regression. And if you're able to do that through the YouTube channel and tap in, then you're probably not going to have any problems. Thank you, cat dog. You probably won't have any problems tapping in through Zoom. I have a couple this week that I'm doing through Zoom, and I've even talked to your mother, Holly, about possibly doing one through Zoom. And you can wait till your mother goes through it if you want, and then schedule your own based on her experience. Well, then again, you're a different person, so you will have a different experience, but hearing from someone else's experience would probably be beneficial to you as well. But nothing to be scared of. You know how I work on these lives and how much love I pour into this. You'll feel the same way when we're doing a one-on-one Zoom session too. But the only thing that would stop it from happening is if you have any distractions going on around you, such as dogs barking or kids, mom, that's something that we have to consider as well. So if you're able to be in a place where you can eliminate all distractions, then the experience should come pretty easy for you. And I think Mariah will be just fine as well. You just have to step out of your own way and just act as if you're just going on a meditation journey. And depending on how you answer questions is where the session will go. I usually will just sit and listen to what comes through, and it just basically sparks new questions, because I like to get nosy, and I know you would want to know everything that I want to know, and so that's how I guide the meditation. I call it the meditation. Hello, Nurse Lady 31. And thank you guys for all the likes. I really appreciate that. I know that my husband's in the background throwing some likes out there too. He's at home playing video games, so I appreciate him for spending a little time with me tonight, allowing me to do this, giving up his time with me on a Sunday evening. If you have any more questions about past life regression, I'd be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, I'll tell you about my experience in Sedona doing the past life regression event for the group session. I enjoy doing group sessions because everybody gets to have their own unique experience, and no one's is ever the same. And so when at the end of each of these group sessions, I have a question and answering or feedback session, and people that came in that didn't expect anything usually get quite a bit out of it, because they have stepped out of their own way. They're like, oh, I guess I'll attend this event and see what happens. I'm not expecting anything. That's a good attitude to have, is not expecting anything, because when we have expectations, that gets in the way. We're expecting it to happen a certain way and turn out to get this kind of information, or basically when people come to me, I want the most significant lifetimes to come forward first. And this week I had a young woman come in and do a session, and she says, this was my first session and it was easier than I expected, but I want to go deeper. And usually with the first time you have a session, it's kind of light, and you're getting used to how the communication between your higher self and you're receiving it, and that's how it comes out in your session. Your guides are there, your higher self is there to guide you through the sessions, bringing you all kinds of images, and sometimes you just see colors. I've had people just go through an entire session seeing colors, and colors do have meaning, and they each have a frequency. And I usually kind of talk to them about the chakras. The chakras have colors and they have specific meaning. And depending on what colors they see during their sessions is kind of how I'll describe it. You know, maybe you're needing more work in, oh, you see a lot of blues. Well, this blue is your throat chakra and it has to do with communication. Are you feeling like you're not being heard in your life circumstances? And if so, that's why you're having this information come forward. This is just your higher self giving you information, whether it's light, colors, images, memories. Everything is possible during a past life regression session. And like I said, none of them I've done are ever the same. But this week I've had an influx of fairies coming in. And those of you who don't believe in interdimensional lives, that's okay. I happen to believe in them because they are resonating at a different frequency than what we can see. But when you raise your frequency to that level of that dimension, you will start to see them in your life experiences. So the dragons, the fairies, the elves. I had an elf this week. You'll see all that information coming in. But this week I had a couple different fairies with very similar lifetimes. One was a very powerful healer in her community, and it's not a coincidence that she's doing a similar work this lifetime. We live patterns, and it's fun to see how those patterns have developed over the lifetimes. And a lot of questions that I get at the end of every one session is, am I living my purpose? And the answer is always yes, you are. Those voices that you hear coming in are not, it comes in your voice because it's your higher self bringing you that information. And a good way to determine if it's your voice or the higher self or your guide's voice is the way it comes in. And I've said this before in previous sessions, and that is, if those thoughts come in as we or you, or like an example, and I use this quite a bit, you should really take that class, or we should really go this way this time. That is the higher self and your guides talking to you. Pay attention to how those thoughts come in, because if it's, I should do this, well, that's yourself. But we or you coming from a different angle, this is the higher self and the spirit guides communicating with you. So pay attention to how it comes in, and you will live a more magical life, I promise. When I started learning that and doing that myself, I have magical things happen to me all the time. And I don't know if you've seen my recent video. My husband and I were out shopping for groceries, and we happened upon another family. And the little girl was just spinning and twirling and dancing in the aisle, having a good time. But the moment my husband and I passed by, the girl just stopped, and she just looked mesmerized. She looked at me. I looked at her. I just wanted to give her a hug and love her. And all of a sudden she says, "You love me." It was such an emotional moment. Her parents were oblivious to what was going on, but we shared a soul connection, a soul remembrance. I remembered her. She could see me, I could see her. seeing the soul. I mean, it just, magical experiences like that happen all the time. You can ask my husband. He gets to witness that quite a bit. And as far as, I'm going off topic, but magical experiences happen when you start trusting yourself, trusting the information coming in. And like I said, that's the hardest part of the past life regression, is trusting the information. I've read in different online groups, a lot of people, I went to do my past life regression with a new therapist, and it just felt like I was making up the story, and it just didn't, I have doubts that this was really even real. I hear that all the time. But the moment that you start trusting that information, more information will start flowing through. And you'll also notice that your spiritual abilities will start enhancing as well. Trust, trust, trust. Let's see, Nanya says, I have a vague idea of how I died last time, but not how or where I lived. A good way to tap back into that is through meditation. If you are a what do I call it? Not a chronic, a daily meditator. This type of thing comes much easier for you. So if you're not used to having a meditation practice once or twice a day, it may be a little more difficult to tap in, but you really have to know, I guess a moment of trust would be, know who your therapist is. You got to build some kind of a rapport with them. Deja vu moments, is that from past or future? It could be both, actually, because we're living our lives simultaneously right now, and we're living other lives right now in this moment as well. Sometimes I'll have clients come in and they will have overlapping lives, like the timelines don't match, but you are the soul. We get this image in our mind that we are just one being. And that is not the way of it. Our soul is everything. And we experience life through so many different perspectives, all at the same time. And so deja vu can also be another dimension for me. Yes, absolutely. You can be remembering a lifetime that's simultaneous to right now. Like we're living in, are there parallel lives? Absolutely. Each parallel is a different frequency. I want to use that word, yeah. So depending on how you're living your life, what frequency of thoughts that you have, this is the kind of life you'll experience. So if you're down here playing the victim mindset, you're going to keep experiencing that on that level. But if you change your mind and you decide to look at life through eyes of unconditional love, you'll experience a more magical, flowing life. Opportunity just come crashing into you. Not crashing, that's a horrible word to use. It just comes flowing into you. Let's see. That was explained in the 3 Ways of Volunteers. Good. Yes, I love that book. Good. It's hard to explain to someone that doesn't understand frequencies or energy. Well, like Nikola Tesla says, if you want to know the secrets to the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And so if you can look at life through everything as a frequency, even this cup has a specific frequency, but because I'm on this frequency, I'm able to interact with it, this energy, just water. Water is a living being too. People come in to have sessions and they are water. And it is amazing what people can experience through that perspective of being water. I enjoy reading about multiverse and string theory. I've heard of that, but I'm going to go look that up after this, the string theory. I want to know more about it, actually. I need a session, of course. I do Zoom sessions all the time. And if you're interested in a Zoom session, you can certainly reach out through my email. In my link tree, there's a link to my email, and you can reach out. We can work something out there. Let's see. Oh. trying to read the chat here. A little girl at church just hold my hand up to her face, and she said, "You are so soft. You smell so good." Just held me. Oh, that is... Kids are so amazing that way. They really, before age 7, there's no fear. They haven't been conditioned to believe in the bad things of the world. Unfortunately, they have to experience it sometimes to understand if the soulmate is on the same frequency. You can speak telepathically anytime you want. And I challenge you to do this. Take 4 names of people that you know and haven't heard from in a while, deceased or alive, it doesn't matter. Write those down and send those names love every day, and pay attention to how they come into you. You may get a call, they may reach out to you on Facebook or something and try to friend you, or you maybe drive up by a billboard sign that has the name of your deceased person on your list. Pay attention to how those names come up to you. It may not be that they're coming out to talk to you, but those names will come to you in different ways. A magazine article and their name just pops out all over the place to you. That's their way of getting your attention. Hey, I'm still here. I'm still making a presence. This is how I'm manifesting. I heard you. I heard your call. Just send them love every day. The string theory, often called the theory of everything. I'm anxious to learn more about that. I believe we had the connection you spoke of. If you're talking about the girl in church holding your hand, absolutely. They recognize your soul. They really do. Anyone that you come across in this lifetime, you've had experiences before in other lifetimes. Even the backdrop people that are just, taking up space in the empty void of your life experience, they're also this is the role they agreed to play in your experience. And you may be a backdrop person to someone else too. I know I am quite a bit. Okay, yes, awesome. Children are so amazing. They are. I wish I had, I would love to do past life regression with children. And I wanted to talk to the mother of the one in the store that said, "You love me." Those children are so intuitive. If they recognize that in me, the aura, she was seeing the aura, the soul, my soul, because I was just pouring out love to her. I was just so, mesmerized by her dancing in the aisle, not giving a crap about anyone else and what they were doing. She was in her own world, not worried about anything. She was just spending a time of happiness by herself. And it was just magical to me, and I loved it. Let's see. Okay. I don't watch a lot of TV. My husband watches the Big Bang Theory sometimes. Sorry, I'm getting live invites. Let's see. Sheldon studies a string theory. My mom passed away 2 years ago, and we were so close. I'm in so much pain. Of course she is. Any time that you think of her, or any memory that comes up from your mother, you hanging out with her, or maybe a specific memory, trust that memory is being dropped into your awareness, probably by your loved one. So just send a thank you. The more you acknowledge those memories coming through and you express gratitude, the more they will happen. I promise. It becomes magical. It really does. You have more access to your loved ones after they've crossed over than you did in their living years, because the energy still exists. They're still alive. They just don't have a physical body to hold them down. So they could be anywhere and everywhere all at the same time. Mariah, I'd love to do that with my kids. That would be amazing. I would love to do that too. It's probably better though to do one-on-one. That way I can kind of get an idea of basically their mannerisms and stuff. When I do hypnotherapy, I watch for specific clues that let me know that they're ready to move forward. and answer questions. The egg story also makes me aware of how we are all connected. Awesome, let's see. You know that it is painful losing a loved one, especially one that you're very close to. But like I said, you have more access now than you did when they were alive. So take advantage of that. Talk to them. They are there. I promise when those memories come in, trust that your mother is there right now. And you can also send love out. She'll bring you you'll find little trinkets, or, you'll know when she's there. You'll know the signs. Just be open to it. Ask your mother for a sign. I promise you she'll bring one. If you're that close, she'll definitely bring you one. Hey, Allie. Ollie, I'm sorry. I probably said it wrong. Forgive me. I have a hard name too. How do you tell the difference between a normal dream and a visit? Well, I think anytime you dream of someone that you have experiences with in this life, it's definitely a visit. Can your souls connect in a dream state? Absolutely. Will the other person remember it? Possibly, but not always. And sometimes it's the higher self bringing you a message or making sense of something that happened in your day. But you will know if it's a visit if that's the first thought that crosses your mind. Oh my gosh, I seen my cousin that just recently passed. Trust that that is a visit. How do you tell the difference between normal? Okay, I already answered that one. What's the best age for past life regression for children? The moment they start talking about remembering them. If you've heard them say, oh, my other mom, or, in my other life, I did this, or I used to be a ballerina. Things like that will kind of clue you in, but under age 7 is the perfect time because they're, like I said, they're not conditioned by society yet, or the educational system, the government, they're just not, they haven't learned that stuff yet. So when they're open and able to just answer questions in a relaxed state, or if they've talked about seeing things or they have imaginary friends, that's the best time to bring them to a past life regressionist. Oh, thank you for the love to me and my family. Oh, you said to at Kathleen. Yes, definitely love to Kathleen. I heard of imaginary friends when I was little, so since I didn't have any, I just made them up. Surprisingly, you may not have been making them up. They brought themselves to you. Make them up now, and I guarantee you something will come through for you. A lot of times when we talk about, oh, I must have been a dancer in a past life, or if you ever say those words, chances are you are unaware that you are being, bringing that information forward. It's very intuitive of people to say that, and they just have no idea. Much love to you and your family as well. Thanks for being here live. Oh, thank you, Nanya, as well. I appreciate that. Love to everyone here. I'm grateful for everybody being here. And asking questions. Keep asking questions. I will love to answer them for you. And those of you who just joined in, we are just having past life chat with me. Any questions that you have, I can certainly answer them for you. I'm not doing any live readings or a past life regression this time around, but I don't know I'm curious to what I should do next week. The last time I came in live, I just answered questions on the different chronic conditions that people have and what the mental cause is for those conditions. So if you guys continue loving to talk about past lives, it's my passion, so I love talking about it too. So if you, let's see, do we need to know our guys' names to connect with them? Absolutely not. they don't necessarily have to have names. Humans are who put names on the guides. So just think of that. Now, you may want to communicate a name, or you can name them yourself. Whatever name comes up to you, they may drop it in your awareness, but not all of them have names. I've tried getting names for my guides. I've had a change in my guides, though. As my growth happens, I notice new energies coming in to assist me. So how do you connect with your guides? Well, meditation is a wonderful way of connecting with your guides. And there's 1,000,001 guided meditations on YouTube for that. And your guides are already connecting with you, just may be unaware of them. But if you want to have them more present in your life and showing signs in your life, give them permission. I give my spirit guides permission to communicate and guide me to my highest good. And once you give that permission, that's what they're waiting for. They want you to acknowledge them so they can reach out and help you more. I'm learning to connect with my guides through meditation. Awesome. That's how I did it too. I did a YouTube guided meditation to meet spirit guides. Can an imaginary friend have been? Absolutely, 100%, yes. They sure can. Let's see. When I do lives, my mouth gets so dry. So, I have a solution. I need to chew some gum. All right. Thanks for joining. If you're just joining, we're just chatting about past lives. If you have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll answer them. What do you think about real life guardian angels? I believe. Absolutely. We're all surrounded by guardian angels, whether they might have been someone that you knew in this current life that has passed on. Guardian angels are always there to help. Spirit guides, your higher self. So then theoretically it's possible to reconnect later. Absolutely you can. Absolutely. I will tell you about one of my spirit guides, and that is my friend Robert. I had a friend back in the early 90s that was kind of protective of me. We weren't in a relationship or anything like that. We're just close friends, and he would come visit the store I was working at the time, and he would hang out till late hours because I worked at a convenience store and it got robbed fairly frequently, and really it was no big deal. But on the nights that I worked, he was always there. And I never asked him to hang out or anything. I got in trouble for him hanging out, but there was one evening that we had a gas drive off, and he took off after this guy, and I was like, you don't have to do that. Don't get yourself in don't hurt yourself doing that. That's so silly. But he had diabetes really bad, and maybe a year after I started working at that store and developed a closer friendship with him, he went to a diabetic coma and passed away. But when I got the news, I immediately knew that he was ready. He was ready to go. It was his time. And ever since then, I've had a really unique connection with him. When I was pregnant with my oldest child, he first made himself known by flickering my lights. Usually when you have lights flicker, the first thought that comes in your mind is usually accurate. So trust that. And the more you start trusting that information coming in, more things like that will happen. So while I was watching these lights flicker, his memory came to mind, and I'm like, nah, but they would happen more often. And when I would tell my husband at the time, I think Robert's here, and he just laughed at me. I still believed it. I didn't care that my husband didn't believe it at the time. And then later on, right before Christmas, I had a stuffed animal that had died years ago. It was one of those seasonal stuffed animals that play Christmas songs if you push the hand. Well, that had died out years before, but I still displayed it during Christmas time. And I remember walking down the stairs with my baby and that particular stuffed animal, and that's one that he had given me previous years, that started going off. And I'm like, there's no way that could be making that noise, because it was dead a long time ago. I mean, think about it. I just started laughing. I'm like, Robert, you're so silly. Why? But it's kind of scared me a little bit. Ever since then, every now and then he'll throw some signs out there that he's still there. But I also have connected with him in the dream state. I ask him, let's have a meeting. Let's meet up and share a message with me. Let me know how things are going. What's happening on the other side. And he presents himself as this rainbow colored image. So when I see that and I see it surrounding something, I know it's him telling me to pay attention to that, what is surrounding it, because I see auras everywhere I go, and I know his specific aura is the rainbow that surrounds something that I need to pay attention to. So that's how he shows himself to me. So yes, you can have someone that you know in the physical later become a guide or a guardian. It just depends on the communication that you've had in this current life. So I remember also years later, I had moved I got divorced from my first husband, and I lived in an apartment complex that strange things were happening. My microwave would go off, nothing around it or anything happening with that. Dishwasher would go off, no one's in the kitchen. And I kept thinking, Robert, stop this. So I actually called a paranormal group from Denver to come down and investigate. And we actually had a recorded conversation through what they called the ghost box, which is basically an EMF. It plays like radio frequencies over and over, and not the same frequency, but you can actually ask questions to spirits or whoever might be present, any entity. And funny thing, we had a conversation with Robert. We asked him to state his name, and it came through clear as day, Robert. And we asked, what is your purpose? Why are you here hanging out with Kia and the girls? And the first response was protection. I had a whole living room full of people experiencing this session. None of them knew Robert, but I knew who he was, and I'm like, I knew it all along. Your first instinct is always accurate. Always trust that. Let me go back and read some of these comments here. What do you think about real life guardian angels? I believe in guardian angels, absolutely. So then theoretically, it's possible to reconnect later in life? Yes, yes, yes. How many guides do people normally have? Multiple guides. You never come into this life without your team. Sharing empathy. Awesome, thank you. The more spiritual I become, the more my ears ring. Why could that be? Believe it or not, the frequencies that you're experiencing are actually messages, kind of like light language. Sometimes it comes in, but the higher pitch ringing, if it's really bothering you, you can tell your guides, okay, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down, or you can ask them to use a different way of getting your attention. Can they give you images rather than a frequency that you're having difficulty understanding? Ask them to give you some thought blocks, just drop in information. Ask them, don't be afraid to communicate. Hey, slow this down. Tell me again. Repeat this, repeat this, repeat this. And they have no problem repeating it. When I began meditating, my head tingles. Oh, that happens to me too. And it's just because you're being, you're activating your pineal gland. I was in a hurry out the door on my bike, and I heard his voice say, slow down. And I hope you did. I hope you slowed down, because they will use any means possible to communicate. They like to use electricity, because they're energy. They can manipulate it. But always trust your first thought that comes in. When you're going about your day and you have this thought coming in, we should take this route instead. Do it. Do it. In your life, like I said, it'll be so much more magical, because you will go on adventures that you never thought you would just by doing a normal everyday pattern. Break out of your patterns and the magic happens. His memorial picture fell flat on the table. Awesome. This is the way of getting your attention. I absolutely believe that. Absolutely. And you know, I have some dowsing rods that sometimes I use to communicate with. Hold on a second. So recently, my husband was sitting in the living room and the light starts flickering. He's like, Kia, I just unscrewed this light and it started flickering again. And I said, well, what was your first thought when that happened? And I said, wait, let's find out. So I went in my other room and I grabbed my dowsing rods. And these rods are used to, usually when they first came out, was to locate water. But they can also be used to communicate. And so I got my rods, I went to the living room and I asked the yes or no questions. I wish I had them here to, you can, if you look up dowsing rods, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they're two rods that you hold in your hand that you can't manipulate because the copper encasing on it doesn't allow for that. So the energy that you're speaking to will speak through your muscle memory. I'm trying to think of how to describe this the easiest way because it's difficult to explain. The higher self communicates with whatever the energy that's in the room. People will say it's the spirits moving the dowsing rods. I beg to, can they manipulate it? Sure, but most often it's them communicating through you and your muscles. The little movements of your muscles will move the rods in their favor. You could ask them questions. So I brought these rods out to the living room and I asked, is there something here? And immediately, yes. Well, my husband's like, could it be Oma? His mother passed away several years ago. And a yes came, and I'm like, you already knew this. Why are you having me ask these questions? Your mother's here spending some time with you. So enjoy the love that's coming in. And it really made the evening a lot easier, knowing what it was that was manipulating the light. Like how a robotic arm can be used. I'm not sure. Probably. I'm not sure how that works. I've not done any research in that field. Yes, they swivel. So some of you do know what the dowsing rods are. They do swivel freely and they can cross or separate. So I've used them to find things in my house. My husband lost a set of keys that were extremely important because we were trying to sell my daughter's RV and we had no idea where the keys went. And so I got the dowsing rods out. I'm like, okay, show me where the keys are. And immediately they started pointing down towards the kitchen. So I started walking towards the kitchen while it started taking me down the hallway. So we just followed the rods and it took me to the wash machine. The wash machine! So I got everything out of the wash machine and sure enough, in my husband's pants pocket, in the washer, were the keys. So you can use the rods for anything, not just communicating with entities in your home. Let's see. People can control prosthetic limbs by brainwaves. Some still feel that. That's awesome. And you know what? I believe that. Especially using the dowsing rods. I see how that would work out. Let's see. I had asked a client of mine if I could share his past life regression with you guys. And he told me yes. So I want to play this amazing, let me turn this off. Hopefully you can hear it. So I'm going to find his session. And his session was a Bigfoot, and it was extremely, I don't know, I'll just let you listen to it and decide for yourselves how you feel about it. Let me grab it. Let it load. And describe it. Find it. I might skip around a little bit, but bear with me here. But I wanted to get his permission first. I don't share anything unless I get the client's permission. Let me find my volume. Come on. Let's see.
Speak positive to them. It's fine.
Also, send some love to your mother. I'm gonna go ahead and close this scene. Can you guys hear this? Another lifetime, another significant lifetime. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Trust your first impression. What do you see? My connection keeps stopping.
I'm a Sasquatch in the woods.
Good job. How's my connection now? Is everything going clearly? Let me know in the comments. Daryl, thank you for the likes. Thank you all for the likes. You can hear it? Okay, good. I'm going to continue playing it. He's tapping into the life of the Sasquatch. Tell me about your experience. What does it feel like to be in the Sasquatch body?
Furry.
Furry.
There's no religion, no laws, only universal law. And we take care of the forest, and it takes care of us.
How many are there?
The family is very important.
Yes.
Every member of the family is very important. Is a crucial member that we all must take care of and honor. You know, the old people don't go to homes. They sit at the head of the table when they speak, everyone listens.
I love that. What else can you tell me about that experience? What is your role in that lifetime?
Caretaker.
And who do you take care of?
I take care of the animals. The trees. And the rivers.
How do you take care of them?
You love them. You talk to them. You speak positively to them. And you're all one with them. And they love you. And they can talk to me and I can talk to them.
It's a universal understanding.
But more than that, they can literally talk. And I can talk to them and they can talk to me.
That's amazing.
It's more than telepathy.
So tell me.
You need to listen.
Tell me more about your family. Do you have siblings, or how are the family dynamics set up as a Sasquatch?
Yes, it's very tight-knit, very close family. It's very important. My job is to go out every day and pick berries and gather food and bring it back. Like I said, take care of the rivers and the animals, and you still do your own energy work every day. The Sasquatch sits in the woods quietly still, and just like we have in our text, be still and know that I'm God. The Sasquatch sits still, so still that it becomes one with all that there is, and there is no separation. But we love our family and we take care of them. We take care of our mother and our father. We have ceremonies. And we have ceremony when they pass.
Can you describe those to me, the ceremonies? What are they like?
It's much like paganism today, where we have something of the earth, something of the water and the air, and we put our feet in the dirt. We pray, but we don't pray for things. We create the things that we want. Or if it's raining, or if it's the fire, and we need water, we don't ask Mother Nature for water. We dig our toes into the earth, and we feel the coldness of the air when the clouds come, and we see the clouds, and we feel the rain fall on our face and our feet in the mud, as if the rain is already here, it's already happened, and we're thankful for it, and we know it already is here, and so it is. And we don't pray for things and ask for things. We create them, and when we do it together, we create much more than we could by ourselves. And that's why Sasquatch people are always together. They're always family, and they're always looking after one another. Each individual is dire to the tribe.
Are there names used, like in a human lifetime, how we give our offspring names?
Do the Sasquatch have names?
Do they call you something?
Yeah.
What do they call you? First impression?
Ja.
Good job. So besides collecting berries and communicating with the animals and the water and the trees and nature, what else was the purpose of this lifetime that you're visiting now? Being still. What else?
I feel that, and as I say this, I feel this stone getting incredibly heavy. The burden of being caught by humans. They caught me because I was trying to figure out what they were doing. Because they were cutting down trees. And they were destroying things to make their little lands and their little forts while they set up shop, and they caught me. And I feel guilty.
Why do you feel guilty?
Because I let them down, I let the animals down. I let the river down. Because I wasn't there to protect them and caretake them and watch over them.
That's a heavy burden to carry all by yourself. Are you able to release that a bit? Understand it was a community thing. Good.
Yeah.
So what happens next? What happens when the humans catch you? What do they do?
It poked me with needles, and it kept me cage. And I hate shots, and I never get shots or anything. And I'm realizing that's why right now.
Making a connection.
I never wanted to get a shot or anything, and I was afraid of needles. I've never even gotten a tattoo because I was afraid to be poked with needles.
I understand that now.
Because they poked me, and they took my blood.
Were they scared of you?
They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what I am. They don't see my beauty. They just see me as a physical thing to take from. They don't know my purpose.
Are you able to communicate with them telepathically, or how you did with nature?
No, they shut off.
Of course. So
They see the world as a physical thing that you can take from and use and resources. They don't see the energy in the mother that the planet's alive.
So after they take your blood and examine and try to figure out who you are, what happens next? Do you allow that to play out? Do they release you?
No.
What happens with that?
They kill me.
Go ahead and take your last breath in. Release, allowing the soul to leave the body safely, without pain. Where do you go next? Where are you now? Sorry, this is one of the more emotional sessions that I've done. Even listening to it, this was, I think this was back in last year, right about this time last year when I did this session, and it was, the rest of it got more emotional as it went on, but I asked specifically if I could share the Sasquatch story and how it was being in that body. And it, obviously, every life, we have a life sentence, you know, we do come to an end in the physical. The soul lives on, and now he's back in this life. Let's see. Amazing and heavy. Yes, absolutely. Definitely was. And your phobias are a lot of times attributed to past life memory as well. And that's one of the things that he discovered in this session, is that this is the reason why he has difficulty with shots and needles. And he doesn't even have a tattoo because of that life experience. Sorry, I dropped my crystal. Let's see. None Your Business says, have you observed in meditation how he was? Trying to understand what you mean by that. This person is, the person that I was doing this session with is a well-known spiritual leader in my community. And when I met him, I knew there was so much more that I wanted to help him discover. The initial reason why they came to do, him and his wife came to do sessions with me, they just wanted to know how many other lifetimes they had together. They didn't expect to stumble upon these lifetimes, and it was such a magical experience. Like I said, it gets even more emotional in this session. And a lot of times my sessions are emotional because I allow them to experience the emotions associated with those lifetimes. And I feel it myself. I cry with my clients, absolutely, because the information coming forward is so important for us to know in this life. Let's see. I lost 2 of my best friends in less than 3 months. That is so unfortunate. I am so sorry to hear that. However, if you are just joining, a while ago I shared that the loved ones that we have lost, we have more access to them after their passing than when we did in the physical, because their energy still exists all around you. All you have to do is just think of them and speak to them. They're wanting you to still be a part of their life experience because they're still living. They're just not living in a body. Let's see. I'm different than you all. We're all different. We came to be different. We came to be authentic. Can you have a session with them but understand and experience what they were feeling? Absolutely. So when I do past life regression sessions, I am actually in that memory with them. So most of the time, my eyes are closed as well, and I'm experiencing the journey with them. Kind of like the movie with Scrooge, where he goes to past, present, future. That's kind of how I see things. They're playing the picture, and I'm experiencing it with them. I'm feeling the emotions. I'm seeing the visuals that they're bringing in as if they were my vision, and just basically holding their hand through the whole experience, but not in the physical sense. I'm there with them, encouraging them to experience this, and I'm there letting them know that they're safe. They feel my presence as well when they're doing a session with me. They feel safe enough to go into a war scene or whatever they happen to come across. I had a client this week that her first regression, her first significant lifetime that came forward was, boom, right into a war scene. And we experienced there was no fear involved in that. This person had a family, and the last words that he gave his son before going to battle is, "I'll be back." But he didn't make it. And the emotions that came associated with that were very, really deep. Sometimes you can't help but cry with them and remind them that they're safe. And even though they passed on in that life, they're in a new life to experience a different perspective. And the souls that we have in other lifetimes usually incarnate with us in other lifetimes, especially your current lifetime. Sometimes they'll recognize the souls. When you look at in your past lives, that you look at your family members and people that you associate with in that lifetime, if you look in their eyes, a lot of times you'll recognize them as different, playing a different role in this life. So your father in a previous life could be your boss in this life. I mean, it's amazing how life just plays out, and we each play different roles to help our own spiritual growth. Let's see. Why are so many people afraid of roaches? I can't get over the phobia, but it makes no sense. Well, the only way to really tap into that is, see if it's associated with a past life. I mean, I have issues. I used to have issues with spiders, but through hypnosis, self-hypnosis, I was able to get past that phobia. I still never made a connection of why, but if you've ever been to like Australia or the Middle East where spiders are the size of your hand, of course, you may have been bitten by one in a past life, and this is why you're having a hard time with it in this life. Or as far as roaches, they may even have a spiritual connection. So if you look up the significance of, the spiritual meaning of the roaches, that may also help clue you in on information. Sorry, my glasses are not on. I'm guilty. I should be wearing my glasses reading this. I would feel my loved one's spirit through my pets. You can. Oh my gosh, and they sense them too. Watch your animal's behavior. You're explaining a movie to someone who's blind so that, yeah. So when they're describing their experience to me, I am visualizing it with them. And it is hard to describe it unless you're here doing this. It's hard to describe it to someone else. what about people that do bad things in life? Okay, that's a good question. So we do sometimes come into life as living a life of contrast, meaning the bad guy. And a lot of times we have set up basically a soul contract. It's not written in ink or anything like that. Anything can change. It's not set in stone. But a lot of times people come in to pay back a karmic debt, or perhaps in a previous life you were the bad guy, and in this life they come in as the bad person to kind of create a balance of those lives. Try to think how to describe it better. Is it sometimes planned? Absolutely. But my answer would be, repaying some karmic debt. Do we have to pay it back? No, you can drop your karmic debt at any time. Anytime. And that may be why this bad person is in your life, is to get you to drop that karmic tie. Create, you could do a ritual or a ceremony, basically cutting those cords. Oh, I would be sick and my kitty put his paws in every sore spot. Well, your animals are very intuitive beings. And that's a lot of times that's why they're sent to be with you, is to help you through your healing. But can loved ones put their energy in your pets? I believe they can. I'll tell you. If you know about Reiki is energy healing, and my oldest daughter has the gift of Reiki, and she doesn't really realize how it's happening. She's not taken any Reiki courses or anything like that, but we had a pet pass away. Her name was Pretty Kitty. We called her Pretty Kitty because when the girls were little, that's what they named her, because they didn't have an expansive name bank. So we just called her Pretty Kitty. Well, my husband went out one morning and he found Pretty Kitty had passed away. He was picking up her head, moving around, picked her by the ear, flicked her around, and she was just gone. He was distraught. So we went for a drive, and while we were on for a drive, I asked my oldest daughter, to dig a hole in the backyard so we can have a little ceremonial burial for Pretty Kitty. And we drove around for about an hour, and we just talked about some happy memories with Pretty Kitty. And my daughter says, "Mom, I was petting Pretty Kitty, and she took a picture of her walking." She just poured all kinds of love into her petting and saying goodbye, but Pretty Kitty's like, "Not this time. I'm back." So the energy that my daughter put in, I honestly believe that Reiki brought her back to life. And as she came back to life, she has very strong characteristics of my mother-in-law, who passed away, 7 years ago. But she talks to us now. She didn't used to talk to us that way. She just does a lot of human things now, and it's really weird. But I believe that my mother-in-law comes to visit through Pretty Kitty. Can you have a soul contract with pets? Absolutely you can. Absolutely. Some come to comfort you in times of need, and then they take off, they run away, or, everything is possible. In the moment you start to believe that, your life is going to change completely. Everything is possible. Namaste to you. Thank you. My past cat walked up to me in the bed. I was half asleep and thought it was normal. I jumped up. My husband, when we got back home from the drive of remembrance, my daughter had dug the hole anyway, and it was after she dug the hole that she was petting Pretty Kitty, and she goes, "Mom, all I could think about was just how much love she brought to the family, and I gave it back to her." And so when we got home, she was alive, and my husband was, it's been a couple years now. She's still living. She's an old kitty, but she's still living. Do I channel past lives? I channel my own. Do I know what people's past lives are? Sometimes I can definitely tell, but I'd rather take people through the experience so they can understand their past lives. I don't like to do readings. So we all dream, but I can't seem to remember my dreams. It's been years. Do you know why? I would recommend keeping a dream journal. Maybe developing a practice of meditation. A lot of times meditation will spark the dream state. Do we dream every night? I don't know, actually. I purchased the book on dream interpretation that one of my colleagues wrote, and I'm guilty. I'm so guilty. I haven't dove in like I thought I would. Because it's always at my office and I'm not always here. So I'll eventually know more about dream interpretation and how to experience your dreams more often. You might or might not have heard of what's called Ormus. And if you've never heard what Ormus is, this helps enhance lucid dreaming and psychic abilities. I recommend looking up on YouTube under Woodward TV what you need to know about Ormus. O-R-M-U-S, Ormus. I make this, I actually sell that here in the shop. I haven't made any new batches of Ormus, but Ormus is orbitally rearranged monatomical elements, ORMs, monatomical gold. This kind of stuff helps with bringing in lucid dreaming. I've heard mugwort herb does too if you have mugwort tea. So some recommendations: meditation, maybe some mugwort tea. If you can get your hands on some Ormus. I don't have it listed in my Etsy shop at this point. I'm trying to think of better packaging for it because it's in somewhat of a liquid form. But I'm sure if you look up at Etsy or just Google Ormus, you'll find a practitioner that sells Ormus. But I use it and it helps with moods, it helps with lucid dreaming. It definitely has helped my own psychic abilities enhance. So I have the book in my cart. How good, Mariah. I'm sure I have others in my Amazon cart too, but because she was one of my colleagues, she went to school, she was one of my classmates, I thought I'd support her. Whoops. Wish I had my mom here with me. I'm going through so much in my life after my divorce. I'm so sad. Well, Patsy, I have news for you. She is there with you. Just call on her and new memories will start coming in. She may even show her presence. This is what all our loved ones want you to know, is that they never died. Their energy still exists. The physical body has moved on, has passed away, but their soul is still with you. Thank you. Thank you. Sometimes I dream of the same city over I want to escape, always with people I never met. You're welcome, Patsy. I wish I would have brought them tonight. You're the reason probably I was supposed to bring my Messages from Heaven cards. But something that might help you in your grieving journey, Patsy, is to look on Amazon. James Von Prague has some cards called Messages from Heaven. These are amazing messages, and you use them as an intuitive tool. You just pull a card or 2 or 3 a day. You'll be drawn to the cards that your mother would want you to see, or whoever your loved one is passed on would want you to see. You'll be drawn to those cards. So intuitively pull them and take in that message. Those cards have helped so many people that have come through my office. And I don't like to do mediumship readings, but those are mediumship cards, and they'd be extremely beneficial for you. I highly recommend them. That sounds great. Awesome. I wish you love and healing on your through your loss and your grieving. Me and my mom made a deal that we all use birds to communicate. My mom loves Robin. That is amazing. And I'm so glad you spoke about that before, before passing. I don't know if she's still alive or not, but I've always told my children that when I pass, I will leave messages, specifically things that they would know that it was me. Some funny things. I have the goofy mom humor, and so that's what I will manifest as, beyond the physical. And I want them to celebrate because I've lived a really good life. It's been difficult at times, but I definitely, I'm very satisfied with my life. And it's getting better. All right, so it is 16 after. I was going to do this for an hour, but I wanted to play the Sasquatch, and I will start to getting more permission from others, just snippets of people's past life regression, so that you can kind of experience what it feels like, or what it sounds like, what kind of questions I ask. We have an open conversation about this. Good. Oh, good. It's beautiful to communicate that before the passing ever happens. This makes me wonder, those past also get signals. Absolutely they do. All you have to do is think of them, and the energy is just right there with you. That's how telepathy works too. You produce the thought, and it immediately goes to the other person, whether they're aware of that or not. It really kind of depends on the other person. A lot of my thoughts come out of my husband's mouth, and vice versa. A whole conversation will come out of my husband's mouth that I had just thought of like 15 minutes prior. It's when you get to know your loved ones and you finish their sentences, and that's a telepathic communication right there. My husband and I communicate probably 50-50. We do 50%, telepathy versus verbally. He can tell what my thoughts are. And sometimes my face gives it away. But definitely, we are definitely in tune. There's days that we're not in sync, and we could feel that disconnection, so we just have to breathe and reconnect again. All right. Well, my family is waiting for me at home, and I have to travel through some snow tonight to get home. Luckily, it's only 10 minutes away, but I want to thank all of you for joining me on this live session. I'll be back again next Sunday, and let me know if you want to hear more of the past lives that I've already done. I lost count how many I've done over the years, but this one was one of my favorites that I shared today, the Sasquatch. I might have to play the grass one for you, being grass. You wouldn't think that was so important, but it was such an amazing session that I'll ask him if I can play that portion of it anyway. Thank you guys. Wishing all of you a safe and happy and lovely evening. And I'll start getting permission. Thank you for responding. Yes, I'll get more permission, and then we can just sit and listen to sessions that are just, well, some of them make you just really cry because they get really deep and emotional. But sometimes we need to experience that to grow. So thank you for all the likes. Love all of you guys. Join me again next Sunday, same time, and we'll do some more past life chat and maybe listen to another 1 or 2 sessions or portions of sessions. I'm not going to do the whole session because it's 2 hours long. So anyway, you guys take care too, and see you next week.